Well, could Lane Kiffin bolting Ole Miss actually benefit Mississippi State? The ripple effects in Oxford might be bigger than you think.
You are Locked On Mississippi State, your daily podcast on the Mississippi State Bulldogs, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, everybody. I'm Jaron Spor. Welcome to Locked On Mississippi State, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, now the #1 sports podcast network. Today's episode brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Already going to apologize for the voice. It's going to be a long week. I can already tell. I've been dealing with a sinus deal, and so my voice has just been shot. So it's been fun the last couple days.
A lot of fun.
But we got a lot to dive into because it's Ole Miss week. It's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about outgoing coaches' records in the Egg Bowl, and the numbers might surprise you. And then we'll end with our top dog of the week. But first, let's start with Lane Kiffin leaving because it's obviously a big storyline. Yeah. Rumors are swirling. Then it's kind of been LSU maybe is the one that will get him. Then they release a statement. The AD released a statement saying, hey, he's going to decide the day after the Egg Bowl, which to me tells me he's leaving. But Landon, what's kind of your thoughts on it?
I mean, I think if he stays, it's because Ole Miss ponies up a ton of money that they don't seem ready to do at this point. So my gut feeling is he's on the way out, but just kind of where does he go? I mean, it's LSU and Florida seem to be the big ones, but then this is something a friend of mine was talking about. You know, there's all the rumors that Sark is going to take off to hell. And you know, Sark and Kiffin have some kind of relationship based off of the places they've worked and then working together at different stops. Could he be telling Kiffin he's on his way out and maybe he should hold out for the UT job? So, I mean, there's a lot of dominoes that could fall with him depending on where he wants to go. But it seems like he's on his way out.
I feel like it's LSU. Which is crazy because for the longest time I was like, man, if he leaves, Florida kind of makes a lot of sense. He coached at Florida Atlantic. He likes the state.
Yeah.
It just feels like he's a coast kind of coach, you know, whether it's USC when he was there and then Florida. Yeah. But then like as things kind of went on, I was like, but it makes way more sense for him to stay at Ole Miss because Ole Miss lets him do whatever he wants whenever he wants to do it. But then the rumblings started coming out that his family was visiting LSU. What was that, like a week ago?
Yeah, about
this weekend. Then this weekend there was rumors that he was also there looking around at things and that they're offering like $25 million NIL roster or for his roster. They're going to pay him like $13 million a year or something like that. And right after all those rumors came out, boom, it comes out, the statement comes out. And it's like, that tells me that those rumors might be true and a contract got accepted. And the AD said, hey, we had this conversation and we'll reveal that after the Egg Bowl. That tells me he was probably told that, hey, I'm taking the LSU job.
Yeah, that's really what it sounds like. Reading the tea leaves, it sounds like he's heading to Baton Rouge. And I mean, it's an interesting fit because of his personality. You know, it's very Lane Kiffin is Lane Kiffin. And at this point, no one is going to tell him otherwise. So that could be a very interesting marriage there, especially with what the governor coming in, weighing in on things. It could get real interesting there real fast. But I mean, yeah, it looks like he's gone, and that's going to open up a whole lot of interesting things with, well, now you don't just have, now you have Florida and Ole Miss competing for the guys who are opening, and these guys and some of these schools who fired their coach, you know, back second, third, fourth week of the year might already have deals in place with some of these like top group of 5 guys or top assistants. It might already be in place, and Ole Miss might be left on their 7th, 8th, 9th option because they're going to be late to the party, which, no.
Like we don't really care, but yeah, they're going to be down the list. That's why I think they're going to hire someone either on staff currently or they're going to hire, you know, someone that has familiarity with the school. That's why we kind of mentioned Levy last week, but I don't think it's going to be Levy. I'm just saying a Levy type of person that's been there before. It also is just I'm glad you mentioned the governor thing because that was kind of the thing that always stood out to me as okay, Lane's not going there.
Right.
Like, there's too many people that meddle with that job. Like, no chance Lane is going there. But then again, as more details come out, it's like, where is he going to go there? Like, maybe he is going to go there. I've always heard also if like the Dolphins job opened up, then that would be one he would be interested in, and that one makes sense if he wants to get back. So, especially with all the offensive weapons they have, they need to get a quarterback, obviously, but they have a lot of offensive weapons, so that could entice him. But yeah, I mean, it sounds like LSU, and it sucks for Ole Miss, which we don't care, but
No.
it sucks for them because they're probably going to the playoff.
Yeah, that's going to be.
Yeah, and the thing that's weird about it is, does he coach the playoff? I mean, usually in this day and age, you don't want to because it's NIL and you want to
Right.
get with that. But on the flip side, like, he's your offensive play caller. He's also your head coach. Like, you don't want to go into the playoff without him.
Yeah, you don't want to, but it kind of becomes, and obviously it wouldn't matter too much because of the transfer portal and how that all works now, but how many of those guys are going to follow him?
Right.
And if you give him more time with them, obviously Dave had a ton of time, but I mean, now he knows he's leaving and now you're allowing him to be in your building and kind of recruit those guys to follow him, honestly. So do you even want that? But that's a tough call because if you tell him you're not coaching the playoff, you're pretty much guaranteeing yourself an early exit in the playoff. Because I mean, even if you have someone who is familiar with the offensive scheme, they haven't been the play caller. They don't know what to do in there, and it's going to change.
Which would be Charlie Weiss Jr., who would take over. But yeah, I mean, he's not been calling the plays.
And it just changed the whole dynamic of preparation. And, they would try to keep things going exactly like it's been going, but it's not going to be the same. It's going to change the dynamic of even if you do everything exactly the same, the dynamics changed and it could unravel things fast.
Yeah, for sure. And it's just, it's a weird scenario for them to be in. And the committee even said, hey, if he says that he's leaving, we will take that into consideration when we're ranking the teams. And so they could beat Mississippi State this weekend and drop even behind like an Oklahoma who they beat just because they know it's no longer Lane Kiffin that's there. Another thing is, what if they lose this week? They could drop out of the playoff as a 10-2 SEC team if Lane isn't going to be there. Where I think if Lane announces he's staying, they'd probably still, I mean, they would still be in my opinion, as a 10-2 team. Just because SEC has never not gotten a 10-2 team in since the 12 team, went in. So and they're one of those losses to Georgia on the road by 8. So it's like they have a good loss, and then obviously Mississippi State would probably be classified as a bad loss. But on the flip side, it's a rivalry game, so weird things happen. But yeah, I mean, it's just it's a very weird predicament they're going to be in. But I think based off everything, I'm at the point where I'd be stunned if they announce like, hey, he signed a contract extension. Although Lane is weird and weird things happen, I just would be shocked.
Yeah, that does seem like the least likely thing is him staying and announcing that he's staying. It's
right.
I don't know. It just seems like there's too much smoke with LSU for it to not be true for them. If a contract didn't already agreed on, they're on like the 1 yard line with it. Like it's pretty much finished. They're just ironing out some fine details, but it would be shocking if he is still there. And it's interesting that the committee is now weighing that like, oh, coach isn't going to be there. We got to drop him, which I kind of get, but also like, why are you punishing the players for a coach's decision?
Yeah. No, it's a weird thing. We'll see what ends up happening with it. But again, hey, that might be good news for Mississippi State, which we'll talk about coming up next. Well, the holiday season is right around the corner, and that means it's time to get your home ready. Whether you need more seating for guests, cozy new linens, or fun serveware for your holiday hosting, Wayfair's Black Friday sale is here to help you make your space shine. And the best part, you don't have to wait. Wayfair's Black Friday deals are happening all month long with up to 70% off everything from sofas to spatulas. when I moved up here, I used Wayfair for a lot of things. My couch, I think I even got my entertainment center. I think I got a new desk, some things like that, and it was very easy to put together. Was cheap. It was a very useful for my move. So don't miss out on early Black Friday deals. Head to wayfair.com now to shop Wayfair's Black Friday sale for up to 70% off. That's WAYFAIR.com. Sale ends December 7th. All right. Well, thanks for making Locked On Mississippi State your first listen of the day. And thank you for making Locked On the #1 sports podcast network. All right, Landon. So 24/7 Sports put out an interesting list of the coaching records for outgoing coaches in the Egg Bowl, both at Mississippi State and at Ole Miss. So we talked about Kiffin possibly on the way out. Why does that benefit Mississippi State? Well, Ole Miss coaches are just 1-7 when they're coaching their last Egg Bowl as they're head to another job. Coach Daniel Martin, way back in 1902, is the only Rebels coach to win that game.
So that's a long time ago. Like when you're reading that, like that's insane that the only coach who did it was like the first coach probably who left after that in 1902. Things like that are always just so interesting how there are these trends that have no connection to each other. Because I mean, the last thing about those teams from 1982 to 1902, no connection whatsoever, but the same very similar results. It's just so weird how there's those trends that just carry throughout sports despite there being no connective thread outside of the logo on the helmets. And hey, that's good news. If we can keep that streak alive, it'd be great to turn that into a 1-8 if Lane is leaving. And then the other thing is Mississippi State's coaches are 4-3-1 in their last game. So
we're good at it.
We're good at it. So even for those of y'all who are hoping that this is Levy's last game, there's also good news on that.
Yeah, right. Yeah. It's a lot of positives in Starkville on a Monday already. But yeah, I mean that is crazy to think about that record going forward. But I mean, I still don't know if I'll put money down on Mississippi State to win the game. I'll have to see, gather more information the rest of the week. But yeah, I mean, that is an insane record, and that should make you feel at least good if you're Ole Miss or if you're Mississippi State. Another thing that should make you feel good is I've been seeing a lot of players kind of taking shots at Lane over at Ole Miss. And when you start having that division, that makes things interesting.
Yeah, interesting to say the least. And with players already taking their shots before he's, actually out the door. Like right now, he's on his way out, we think, but he's not actually out there yet, and they're already taking shots. That's a rough way to have to prepare for a rivalry game that we've seen in the past. Weird things happen in this game, just crazy things that we don't expect. Teams step up. It's just one of those things that happens in rivalries. But when you're having to prepare for that, going on the road, and you have players taking shots at your coach, it's a weird. That just adds to the weirdness of what they are having to deal with.
Right. And I think the running back, Keywan Lacey, was the one that I saw that was kind of taking a shot at Lane about the whole thing. But it's just it's a weird situation that they're in right now. But it should benefit Mississippi State. Now, Mississippi State has to go in there focused and ready to win a game. Because if they kind of go in like, hey, look at all this discombobulation, like, hey, well, we're in a good spot. Like, no, that doesn't mean anything to you. But you got to take advantage of them, kind of be discombobulated. And then they've had 2 weeks to prepare for this game as well, and so that should help out with that. And maybe you can get some guys healthy and go for it. But yeah, I mean, I just think there's a lot of things going against Ole Miss in this game, and so it's right there for the taking for Mississippi State.
Yeah, a lot of things, whether current things and historical things, kind of seem to be going Mississippi State's way. And then you throw in the fact you have it at home, so you don't have to deal with the crowd. They have to come in and deal with your crowd. So, I mean, everything is looking good. Obviously, it all has to then take place on the field where the players show up and play like they did the first month and a half of the season, as opposed to what we've seen a little bit lately with things not really clicking quite as well. some of that has to do with health and just getting, run down on the defense, just not having that depth to continue to apply the kind of pressure that you need to. But hopefully guys get healthy over this extended break that we've had here, and that extra preparation helps. And then you can kind of call on these the ghosts of the coaches of the past who have left and lost and get a little help on the field. Because I mean, taking all of this into account, all these weird things going on with Ole Miss, those are all positives for Mississippi State. But you look at the roster and how the two teams performed, it's still a huge mismatch. But if Ole Miss lets all this get in their head and they don't come out to play, it's not going to matter.
Well, and I was about to say, in Lane Kiffin's history, they kind of lay an egg at least once a year, sometimes twice, like last year, Kentucky and Florida.
Now it's going to be in the Egg Bowl.
It will be in the Egg Bowl. But they do. They seriously do. And they didn't play great in the Egg Bowl last year. They won, but they didn't play great in that one. And they haven't really done that this year. They had an egg of a fourth against Georgia, but it's Georgia and it's on the road. It's not the whole game they laid an egg. And so if there was a game for them to lay an egg, with all this stuff going against them, this would be that week. This is why I'm interested to see if Lane is different and if his teams are different. Because if Lane is different and the teams are different, this doesn't phase them and they go out and they play well and they win the game and all that. As a Mississippi State fan and as someone that has watched Lane for a long time, his teams just always have this moment. And we've talked about it. It's very similar to what A&M has done. Now, A&M ended up hiring a really good football coach, and it appears they're kind of over some of those things. And so nothing has changed in terms of Ole Miss hiring a new guy or something like that. So it'll be interesting to see, because if he's able to keep them focused and they win this game, it might be the best coaching job he's done there.
Yeah. And we'll know pretty quick if he is on the way out, because everyone knows Lane Kiffin. He kind of runs that whole like defiant, I am who I am, us against the world kind of coach. You don't change Lane. So if he comes out and that edge is kind of missing from him, and I'm sure we'll be able to see it because it's very obvious when he's not, himself. If that's missing, then that means he's checked out and the team has also most likely checked out already. And some of them are working on how they're going to get to Baton Rouge with him already. But yeah, he does throw that egg a lot. I mean, it's gotten less and less as he's become a more mature coach. Earlier in his career, there's 2 or 3 eggs per season, but now it's really just that one. But we haven't seen it yet. And even the coaches who aren't known for that, with all of this going on, this could be one that their teams would fall apart on.
Yeah, for sure. All right, coming up next, we will give our top dog of the week. Don't go anywhere.
College football is back, and I couldn't be more excited. The tailgates, the rivalries, the energy in the stands, there's just nothing like it. But let's be real, actually getting tickets can feel like more of a battle than the game itself. Endless queues, hidden fees, prices jumping at checkout, and that's why I use Game Time, the app that gives the advantage back to fans. It's the easiest way to score last-minute tickets at the best prices with no surprise fees. What you see is what you pay. And I pulled up Game Time, and in just a couple taps, I saw amazing deals. I'm talking about your favorite college football games for as low as $25. And my favorite part about Game Time is you can see the exact view from your seat before you're buying those tickets, so you don't have to worry about it. We've all bought tickets and not known what our view is going to be. That doesn't happen with Game Time. And it's faster, cheaper, and less stressful than any other way I bought tickets. So take the guesswork out of buying college football tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, that's promo code LOCKEDONCOLLEGE for $20 off. Swipe, tap, ticket, go. Download Game Time today.
All right. Well, thanks for making Locked On Mississippi State your first listen every single day. Part of Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. All right, Landon, who is your top dog of the week?
Well, since football was off, basketball has been going. We mentioned that, but we haven't got a chance to talk about it. Mississippi State, the basketball team themselves didn't have a great weekend, but Josh Hubbard put on a show. One night he went 23 points, 2 rebounds, 2 assists, and a block. And then another one, 29 points, 2 rebounds, 4 assists, 1 block, and 3 steals. So, I mean, he's still going just like we expect him to. He's putting up points, but team's kind of struggling. Hopefully they follow his lead a little bit better going forward and they start getting some wins. But he's playing well to start the year.
Yeah, I also went with Josh Hubbard, so that's there's no one else I could go with at this moment, but they've been really disappointing, honestly, this year. I've watched them play, let's see, at least 3 times. I watched the Iowa State game. They got blown out in that one. Iowa State's pretty good, happens. But he scored 25 in that one, and that was back on November 10th, so this wasn't for this past week. But I watched K-State this last week, and then I watched them follow that up against New Mexico. And, he scores 23 against K-State. He looked like the only person that actually belonged on the court. And then he scores 29 against New Mexico, and they lose that one too. So just it's not been good at all for them. The thing that when I've watched them play, and I don't want to take away because he's been playing so great, you can tell he's taking that next step.
Yeah.
It's a lot of the same stuff that I saw last year. And what I mean by that is, yes, I think they're a better shooting team. I think they do some things offensively better than they did last year. But my biggest issue with them last year was they played a lot of one-on-one solo ball like a lot of their players did, and that's still been the case this year. Like, I watched them play, and it's new players, and this is one of my biggest fears about when you fill your team with a bunch of transfers is these guys are all coming to transfer because they didn't get the opportunities where they were at, most likely. Or they played well where they were at, and they want to show it at a better competition that they can play well. And so it's all about, hey, I want to get to this next level. And I'm not saying that everyone is selfish and stuff. That's not what I'm trying to say. But it just doesn't seem like there's a scheme that they're running or a system that they're running. It's more of, hey, we're going to go do this.
A lot of your turn, my turn kind of.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, and some of that could just be new faces too. I mean, once these guys play a little bit more, maybe they'll start to gel and form more of a team, but it is looking rough right now. I mean, Brian O'Connor still out there killing it, added a few more commitments to the next class already. So he's putting in work right now. We haven't gone into baseball at all since football season started, but he is doing so much work on the recruiting trail. It's like almost every day. It seems like either someone for next year or even 2 years from now is already committing. And yeah, it's looking good for baseball, both this year and down the road with Brian O'Connor.
Yeah, it's not been good. Not a good start. And they're in danger of missing the tournament because, and I know it's early, it's like 5 games in, but these are the ones that you need to racking up the wins because once SEC play starts, I mean, it doesn't get easier at that point. It gets harder. But yeah, I mean, he's averaging 23.8 points per game. His field goal percentage has gone up to about 45%. His 3-point percentage is a career high at 36%. His rebounds are about what has been. His assist is almost 5 a game, which is up from what he has been in the past. His steals are almost 2 a game. I mean, he's playing really good basketball right now. And, hopefully he can keep it going. Yeah. All right. Well, thanks for making Locked On Mississippi State your first listen today. For your second listen, check out Locked On SEC. Chris Gordy breaks down the best conference in college sports from the rivalries to the championship and every game in between. Find Locked On SEC on YouTube or wherever you listen to podcasts. Part of Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I'm Jaron. Check out my work over at Athlon Sports. That's Landon. Follow us, Locked On Mississippi State. We're on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter. We post daily videos Monday through Friday. Just a reminder, we'll have our crossover show on Thursday with Locked On Ole Miss. Stephen Willis will be doing another one of those. So that should be a lot of fun. And then Friday's obviously the game. We probably won't do a post-game short because we'll have our podcast release that day. That'll be our pregame short. Our podcast will release that day, so you already have it. But we'll do some kind of post-game video after that. So check out that. And until next time, Hail State.
Hail State.